Now it is very important to understand. I will do a little resume that if you remember the last few chapters, we have spoken of the three layers: infrarational, rational, and suprarational. The infrarational layer is that which belongs and is dominated by the physical and vital. Right? If you look carefully at oneself, you will find that most of our impulses, instincts, and desires all come from the infrarational, physical or vital. Then, since we cannot allow them to go haywire, we bring in a certain kind of mental control. The rational being controls your instincts and impulses, directs them in a certain way, right? But it is not overcome completely. It is only controlled. So you control all the instincts, right? And then the second thing that Sri Aurobindo has shown is that we have discussed already four basic urges of the human being. The urge for knowledge, which at the beginning always is infrarational. Then when one moves to the rational level, that is where science, philosophy and all that, one is detached. But the true movement comes in only when one goes beyond the reason to a higher level. So ultimately knowledge can be fulfilled only by going beyond reason. This is one of the most important themes of Sri Aurobindo. The same thing happens with beauty. The first movement of beauty is instinctive and impulsive. Therefore, then a lot of crudities enter the expression of beauty. That has to be brought under the control of the reason. But the real fulfillment of beauty takes place only when you are touched by something higher, which is called the suprarational. So all great pieces of art, Indian and Western and everything, right, have always come from a higher level, beyond the reason. Similarly, when we are seeking for religion, the first natural movement and inevitable movement is infrarational. There is no problem on that at all. But then, when religion goes off the haywire, then you bring in reason to control it. Right? But the true fulfillment of religion can come only when you go beyond, into the higher aspiration, into the suprarational. The same thing with good. So you see, we have already discussed reason, we have discussed religion, we have seen beauty, and now we are seeing good. The first movements of good are always infrarational. You are good because I like you, because you are favorable to me. But if I tell you the truth, which is unfavorable, then I am not good. Now this is based on the physical and vital. But then gradually man evolves, and then he finds out what is called a rational principle and standard, which is the whole movement of ethics, right? Ethics is the attempt at the beginning to create a rational structure by which you control yourself. But ultimately you will find that this also doesn't take you very far. You have to go one more step. And there, the ideal book on ethics, the ideal guidance on ethics, is the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, where he asks you to abandon all dharmas, that means all rational codes of ethics, and listen to that inner voice. But first you must be able to listen to that inner voice. If you do not have that capacity of coming in contact with that inner voice, then well, the next best thing is rational. Now, all these four parts, reason, religion, beauty, and ethics, belong to the higher part of man. But But then there is another part which, whether you like it or not, is there very strongly in all of us and is guiding us. Is almost the dominant factor. That is what Sri Aurobindo calls life, the vital being. Now the question is, this vital being is the being which all of us have in more or less quantities, right? It is the source of all our desires, impulses, energy, enthusiasms, etc., etc., etc. That is, the force comes from there. But this fellow, because its very root is vital, right? This life energy seems to be almost opposed to the divine and the higher element. So what religion and ethics have done is either to control it by some tapasya, which is indispensable, right? Because it is very important that otherwise we will become animals, right? But it doesn't get its fulfillment. The question is, can we get a fulfillment? Or is it by its very nature, this life force, anti-divine and divine? Sri Aurobindo is categorical that even the life force, even the vital being, can be uplifted to the suprarational level, right? And now I will answer the question that was asked. Love in 99.999 cases, right, is always originates from the physical and the vital. And therefore you will find that in love, the instinct of possession, the instinct of satisfaction of desires, the instinct of sex are very, very strong, right? And those who want to lead the spiritual life, they have to kill it or suppress it. You cannot kill it. You can do what you like. It will burst out somewhere or the other. Therefore, the question is, if it is not meant to be divinized, if it is not capable of being divinized, then we are helpless. Then we have to do only religion, ethics, beauty and knowledge. But life is a very important thing, and whether you like it or not, as I said, almost the whole of humanity, that life urge is very, very strong. That is why we seek for a job, that is why we fulfill our desires, etc. We get married, etc., etc., etc. Right? Now Sri Aurobindo is categorical that this love can be raised to the highest level. And he gives examples where in the vital life, in the ordinary vital life, in what is called the ordinary vital life, there are examples in life of how one has raised this element to its highest pitch, right? This is true of politics, it is true of economics, it is true of the social life, it is also true of love. So he gives the example of the family love, right, where the husband or the wife or the mother and the son or whatever it is, right, they raise their love to a very, very high pitch. But most of us human beings, our love is a calculation. As mother says, it is a commerce, right? I love you as much as you love me. I love you because you love me. I love you only because you have got money. I love you because you have got power. That is not love, right? That is intrarational love. And what we have done in human society is that since the love instinct is very, very strong in all human beings and tends to manifest itself ultimately in the form of sex, right? We don't allow people to have free sex, so we have controlled it. So we have created an institution called marriage, where you say one-to-one correspondence. You get married to someone, And as Shobindu writes in one of his letters, marriage is simply a license for sex. But you can make it much better. If you use that and you go overcome gradually and raise this whole element, love can become extremely beautiful. Right? Now, there is one thing which I have to explain to you. This is very important. How to know that your movements are suprarational, whether in politics or in economics or in social life or in friendship or in love. These are the main areas of the vital being. How to know that it is on the suprarational level? Because one can cheat oneself. So Sri Aurobindo says that the first mark of the suprarational is the seeking after the absolute. Now I have to explain this to you. What is the meaning of this absolute? Our whole life is relative. By relative, it means that it depends on circumstances, it depends on inner and outer circumstances, it depends on external and internal conditions, but it is not there all the time. Look at oneself. Can I say with honesty that my peace is absolute? Not at all. It depends on many things. When one does yoga and one trying to seek for the spiritual life, then you can say that I am trying to reach the absolute. So a yogi is one who is not disturbed under any circumstance. The whole world can crash, but he is there. You will see so many letters of Sri Aurobindo when the Second World War was going on, or where individual struggles were going on. You have to learn to go into that situation. Similarly, our happiness is absolutely relative. If my desires are fulfilled, I am very happy. My desires can be even nice and beautiful desires. But you show me a man who is all the time happy, I will salute him and say, yeah, you are now reached the absolute. So our peace is relative, our happiness is relative, and our love is relative. Right? You have betrayed me. That is a very relative love, because I am expecting something from you. When you love truly, there is no expectation, there is absolutely total self-giving. The question is whether it is worth doing that for a human being or not. I think in most cases it is not worth doing, right? But this can be done for the divine. You can give yourself entirely, and there are hundreds and thousands of examples in the world, in all cultures and civilizations, where people have loved the divine under tremendous opposition, whether it is Chaitanya or Mirabai or Ramakrishna or Mother or Sri Aurobindo, or take in the West also, you will find hundreds of them. Right? Now the question is that you don't have to be, only a saint. You can also be in the family life and yet be like that. You can be in political life and also be like that. You can be in economic life and earn any amount of money, but you are not attached to the money even for a moment. You can give up. You can stand very firm, but you leave it ultimately to the divine. And the perfect example that we have today is Sri Aurobindo and the mother. They have lived a full life. They have taken part in all activities, including political. Sri Aurobindo categorically supported the 1942 Crip proposal. He sent a messenger from the ashram to go and meet the Congress leaders, etc., try to tell them that it is very important for the country that we should accept the Crip proposal. He did his part. When that gentleman had come down and was going outside the ashram, Sri Aurobindo was asked, what do you think will happen? He said, they will reject it. They will not accept it. So the question was, why are you doing it? and you know they will not accept it. What is the point in giving this advice? He says, I have to do what I know is right. Right? Nishkam karma. Right? They rejected it. Mother said that if you reject it, the consequences will be terrible. Anybody who has studied history will show you the whole partition that took place, the Holocaust that took place, the millions of people that have been killed that took place, and even now the nuisance that this partition has created is unbelievable. Right? But Sri did his work. And he knew that today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow, this problem will be solved. He was acting on that higher level. We are acting on the lower level, either rational or infrarational. We want results, we want things, we want this, we want that, right? And if we don't get it, then we are unhappy, we lose our peace. Stress is a major contribution of this infrarational rational life. If you want to get rid of stress in your life, you have to move beyond the vital being. You have to go to the spiritual. Now, that is difficult, I agree. But all the others are temporary solutions. Right? And this International Yoga Day is a good thing because it helps a little bit in moving in that direction. Because that is the essence of India, right? Then it makes you a little calm. Your breathing becomes more gentle. You don't react so violently. So you will find that you control your temper. You control your speech. These are all first steps towards attaining that suprarational absolute, right? So anything that does that for you, whether it is yoga, or whether it is Indian, or whether it is Western, doesn't matter. The point is that we have to move up towards the suprarational and the absolute. So the basic theme of this chapter is that the vital is not something that needs to be rejected. It is something that needs to be uplifted, purified, right? And have no illusions. If you see one man who has purified his vital, go and salute him. He is already reached at the highest consciousness, right? We are all struggling. Might be it is not very powerful, but it is there. But it is there in all human beings. So the basic idea now is that one has to go beyond all this. And this is something which is inevitable, right? You cannot start with the suprarational consciousness because this whole world has been created by a process of evolution. And evolution means always very little consciousness at the beginning. Gradually consciousness increases more and more. So from matter you come to life. Life you come to the animal where there is a crude mind at the beginning. Then you come to man, the mental being, where there is a much more developed mind. But that is not the end. You have to go beyond that, right? And that is the whole essence of this chapter. So there is a suprarational ultimate of life also. Just as there is a suprarational ultimate of reason, of knowledge, there is a suprarational ultimate of beauty, there is a suprarational ultimate of good, there is a suprarational ultimate of religion, and all true religion is suprarational. All true religion is spiritual. In fact, the very next chapter is called Religion as a Law of Life. Right? Now we'll show you that religion can be the law of life when it becomes spiritual. So those who are trying to throw religion out are foolish people. You have to raise religion to the highest level because inevitably, without exception, all human beings start their aspiration through a religious mode. Somewhat controlled by the mind, but only controlled by the mind. It cannot give you the answer. The answer has to come by going above, which means that you have to follow a discipline. First of all, you must want it, you must seek it, and then once you have decided that you want it, the next step will be to find out the discipline. There are many disciplines, more or less similar in pattern. At least in the early stages, they are almost entirely the same. And what we are calling yoga today is one of the first steps, right? It is only the beginning. But ultimately, if it is carried to its logical conclusion, you will find that it brings a calm, a peace, a wideness, right? Which will be extremely good. And which will ultimately bring in world peace. You see, this is the direction that uh, this movement of yoga should be ultimate, right? It can't happen tomorrow, it can't happen day after tomorrow. It can't happen in the mass. But the very fact that the mass is opened out to this, or is beginning to open out, they will realize that they are on the path towards the right direction. Right? And there is no point in getting into all this whether yoga is Hindu or not Hindu. It is something which helps you, which makes you a better human being. So why bother? What does it matter what label you give it, right? It is a fact that it was discovered a few thousand years back in India, but that doesn't mean that it is our position. It is the position of all humanity, past, present, and future. So this is the whole chapter of the suprarational ultimate of life. Now, if you have any question, you can ask me straight away. What I would like you to do is that when you go back home, read this chapter a few times, right? And if you have still some questions, because there are many details which are very interesting, which I have not dealt with, right? But I will answer them either here or by email. Or you see, WhatsApp you can't answer. You can only just give 10 sentences or 5 sentences. But now, if anybody has any question, Kavita, I can see you there. Rishikesh Bhai, Donna, Varsha, any question?
I'm going to go back and listen to this video and then write down a question and have it for next week.
You can write the question. I can answer you both on email and also on the next talk, right? Next session. There is no problem at all. In fact, I enjoy doing it. If you have questions, I will certainly answer you, right? I feel very happy when somebody comes towards Shrivindu, right? So, Kavita and Varsha, anything to ask? I can see you nodding your head, but I can't hear your voice. I think your mic is muted. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it was clear or not on the whole? Nod your head.
It was very clear. I hope that you don't have a problem when you turn this off, because prior to trying to share your screen, it was showing a bunch of little screens.
Yeah, huge number of other screens. I saw that. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But I think it will be recorded, no?
Yes. As soon as we get through, it's going to have to process, and then I'll send it out, and we can see how it turned out. I hope it recorded your screen today.
Yeah.
But we won't be sure till the broadcast is over.
Yeah. The very fact that it is recorded, at least video and if possible video and audio, even those who are unable to come or unable to, they can always go back to YouTube and, catch up.
Yeah.
Because I don't see Shivika here today. I don't know whether Archana is also there. I see only 4 people. Donna, Rishikesh, Kavita and Varsha. Varsha will keep in touch on WhatsApp, right? And whenever you have any longer question, I will certainly send it to you. Right? I will send the answer to you. Kavita, of course, is right across. She can hop in, or we can talk on the telephone also. It doesn't cost anything, but to talk to Varsha in Germany, We cost 12 rupees per minute. So, Donna, anything else, or shall we call it a day?
I think we can call it a day. And it seems like this turned out real good. We'll know more later.
I will now go to YouTube and try to see the first.
Sorry.
I said I'll try to go to YouTube now and see the first one, right? And then when you put up the second one, I'll see the second one afterwards.
Kavitha sent a message, and she said that she's sorry that she's having some audio issues on her laptop and she can't hear much, that she hopes that she has it fixed by next session, and she wanted to thank you for giving the session today.
You can always see it on YouTube later on.
Yeah.
When her children are not troubling her, they are young little kids, I've seen them, right? So naturally. So, Rishikesh Babu, you also can see, right? And if you have questions, you can always ask me on Skype, because I see you now quite regularly on Skype, right? And we can always talk on Skype also. Actually, for me, this is one of the happiest things to do, when I can share with Sri Aurobindo, share with others something of Sri Aurobindo Devada, all my energy and enthusiasm comes back. Otherwise, sometimes I feel down. So, Donna, you were saying something?
No, I was just saying thank you for sharing your time today.
No, there is no question of sharing my time. I thank you for having come.
And thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm glad you were able to connect, Rishikesh.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me, because I failed all the time. Today is the first occasion. Then I'm able to see the video and join the session.
Yes,
so you can imagine my happiness.
Yes, and my happiness also.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Then I have a small question.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the International Yoga Day. Now,
I'll tell you why. Because Donna asked me before the session started something on the International Yoga Day. So I said it's a good thing. Right. Now you are.
What we find that the idea is facing opposition from a variety of people around the world for various reasons, their own reasons.
Not bother about this. We have to do what you think is right. Opposition will be there everywhere, and you can't imagine the opposition that Sri Aurobindo and the mother are facing in the world here. So you do your part, right? And I think that what he has done is a good thing. And there are other reasons. There can be religious reasons. There can be all kinds of reasons. But the fundamental idea is good. That's all.
My suggestion is whether you can formulate your ideas and thoughts in this regard and put it across the world for them to see before the day.
I would like to remain in the background with my small little group of friends, right? I don't want to get into the mainstream, because immediately you see the dirt that comes up. I am telling you, right? Because I am not speaking through my hat. I have seen how there's such a violent reaction sometimes. Again, it is sometimes personal, sometimes political, sometimes God knows what, right? So I think that if we do our work quietly, and these YouTube recordings, those who are interested, they can always see them, right? I see, the point is, you must remember one thing always. Don't try to change the world. Start with oneself. And that will help the world to change. Right? So I am absolutely not. It is because this Donna showed interest, and then I find that many people are showing interest, right? That I am giving it to you. But to those who are not interested, or I don't want to convince anybody about anything. right? Not even about Sri Aurobindo. So you have to discover the delight that you get from Sri Aurobindo, from the mother, right? I have no objection at all to those who don't follow them. It doesn't matter at all. So your suggestion is very well intentioned, but Kittuda is not going to get into this public stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
But as you mentioned, it is definitely a grace of the mother that Donna Madam has got involved into this thing and arranging to put us together with you for this session.
I have known her for almost a decade, and I think she's a very good soul.
Yeah.
There is no need. Point is that we are all good souls, right? Every one of you who have been touched by any higher movement, whether it is Sri Aurobindo or not, it doesn't matter. So that aspiration is what is important.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So even though we can't set out that we want to change the world, with your prime minister being in the position that he's in and promoting yoga and the asanas, the 9 asanas that he has put out on his Twitter feed, the people that are doing the asanas do them perfect, and it's just a wonderful opportunity that they've picked June the 21st, which is such a special day, the solstice, the summer solstice day, to put this out, to put out the World Yoga Day. I do hope that something great can come of it.
It's the longest day of the year, right? And
Yeah, that's right.
And the United Nations chose it a very good day, right? So that is the day when the light will be, the sun will be above for the longest time, right? In the northern hemisphere. Of course, in the southern hemisphere, it is exactly the opposite, right? But that doesn't matter. These are all symbolic things. The point is, anything that takes man to a higher level is always to be encouraged and welcome. It doesn't matter from where it comes.
Symbolically, it's a day of turning.
That we'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Okay then, Donna.
Okay.
Paras has joined the video.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the background.
No, that
Paras,
isn't it.
oh, he's gone. We'll talk to him later.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And,
thank you for the conversation, Kittu Da. We enjoyed it, and we look forward to next week.
yes, yes. Okay.
So y'all all be ready to look in your email to get your invitation. It's a little bit different in the Google Hangouts. And we'll try to do this again next week.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'll keep in touch with all of you through WhatsApp, Kavita, of course, on the phone, Rishikesh Bhai on Skype, and Donna also either on Skype or by email. Okay then.
Y'all have a good week.
Namaskar.
Yeah.
Namaste. I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, push it, close it down.